Hello, everybody. This is your Right Geek back with another edition of Iron Man Things. Today we are going to talk about Tales of Suspense number 59 and how Tony Stark's weak heart actually can create genuine drama. This is basically the first of a little miniature arc that they're going to have for the next couple of issues, in which Tony's chest plate starts to malfunction, and we'll see in this issue that that results in a very dramatic consequence. So we have here the Black Knight, which was an enemy that appeared in an earlier issue. He is escaping from prison here, and he's out to take revenge on the Avengers who defeated him. And meanwhile, the Avengers are kind of minding their own business, and they're getting ready for a charity gala of some sort. And what I think is funny about this panel here is if this were written in 2019, as your boy Zach would say, it would result in 15 articles from the Mary Sue about how sexist the Iron Man comics are, because we have the Wasp here primping and obsessing about her hair and her makeup, and the male characters are like, the trouble with girls is they all act like females. Yeah, get ready for your 15 articles from the Mary Sue about how sexist that is. Even though, in reality, there are a lot of women, not me personally, but there are a lot of women who do like to spend a lot of time on their makeup. I can name my mother in particular. And whenever she was going out to something formal or important, she would spend a lot of time on her looks. And it's not necessarily sexist to acknowledge that sometimes this happens with women. Okay, moving on to the actual story. So what happens is the Avengers leave to go to their event, and Tony is left behind because they decided that at least one Avenger needs to stay behind to respond to any emergencies that might come up. And and lo and behold, an emergency does come up because the Black Knight, he doesn't know where to find all the Avengers, but he does know that Iron Man works for Tony Stark. Ha ha ha. So he goes to Tony's factory, so Tony has to respond to an alarm at his own factory. But when he gets there, he has a heart attack, basically. And the reason for that is that his chest plate is it's not functioning properly. And obviously, Pepper and Happy, who are his closest friends, are very worried about this. And they're like, oh no, we have to call the doctor. And meanwhile, Tony's like, no, don't call the doctor, because if they see the chest plate, that will reveal who I am. So while the Black Knight is making chaos at the factory, he takes advantage of that opportunity to sneak away and plug himself in. But obviously that's not going to satisfy Pepper and Happy. So while he changes into his armor and goes off to fight the Black Knight as Iron Man, meanwhile, Pepper and Happy are like, we have to break into the office. He's locked himself in, and he was swooning. He was sick. He was having some sort of attack. Something was wrong with him. We have to go find him. We have to find some way to get to him. We can't just leave him to suffer alone. So they're trying to break down the door here, but it's steel for some weird reason. I wonder why the boss would put steel in his door. And meanwhile, the fight between Iron Man and the Black Knight is continuing, and Happy decides that he's going to climb out the window and try to get into Tony's office through the window. And he gets captured by the Black Knight as a hostage and ultimately has to be rescued. So we have while this fight is going on, meanwhile, Pepper and Happy are like, what the heck is going on with Tony? We have to get in there. And there's that little side drama going on. While Tony is busy battling the Black Knight as Iron Man. And he eventually prevails here, but when he gets back, he realizes that because of the malfunctioning chest plate, he actually cannot remove the armor. He can't bring himself to do it because he's afraid that if he does, he won't have enough power to keep his heart beating, and he will black out and die, essentially. So he's stuck in the Iron Man persona. He can't return to his life as Tony Stark at this moment. And this, of course, creates suspicion with Happy and Pepper that's going to be carried through the next couple of issues. What happened to Tony? Last we saw him, he was sick, and now Iron Man is here saying, oh, Tony had to go away. He had to go... He left through a secret entrance, and he is... he had to go out to pursue something else, and, oh, it was just a dizzy spell, don't worry about it. And obviously, Pepper and Happy are not going to be cool with that. They're like, what the hell's going on? And he's like, they're getting suspicious. Oh no, what am I going to do? So we have this story that has started here where Tony's trapped in the armor and can't tell anyone because that would reveal his secret identity. And meanwhile, all the people in Tony's life are sitting there saying, what the heck happened to Tony? Where is he? And does Iron Man have something to do with this? And that actually generates an interesting story here for the next couple of issues, where Iron Man basically falls under suspicion for Tony Stark's disappearance, and he has to figure out a way to get out of that situation. So it kind of puts the lie to something I heard this weekend. I went to a little convention of Orthodox Christians who also happen to be geeks. And one of the speakers kind of mentioned offhand that Iron Man's weak heart was kind of a lame weakness. And I came up to him afterward and I sort of argued against that, because in many cases his weak heart leads to very interesting and very suspenseful stories where you have Tony getting stuck in the armor, and at least in this story, he's stuck in the armor because if he actually went to a doctor, they would discover his chest plate and discover who he is. And because he's stuck in the armor, and no one knows that he is Iron Man, everyone thinks that Iron Man has done something to Tony Stark, and it turns into a very dramatic story. So the weak heart actually can be a cool weakness when it is used effectively. So that is Tales of Suspense number 59. Next time we'll probably do Tales of Suspense number 60. We will continue this Trapped in the Armor story, which is a pretty good story here in these early issues. And I look forward to talking to you then. Thank you for listening.